لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبوضة فإن أمن بعضكم بعضا فليؤدي الذي ائتمن أمانته وليتق الله ربه ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه والله بما تعملون عليم صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغ رسوله النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم.
Jazakallah khair, Faiz, for this beautiful recitation. Allah give you reward for that. Indeed, it's a very beautiful recitation and beautiful kalam. So the Raku just we read, it is this Islam through Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam guide us in all aspects of life, including how we trade with people, how do we conduct business. So Islam is different from other religion in a way because it is deen rather than just a religion. Deen means a way of life. So in other religion, if we compare our religion to other, so in Christianity or in Hinduism, basically a relationship between a creator and the disciples are done. Like, their practice is sort of more concentrated on going to temple, church, synagogues. But Islam, on the other hand, guides you how to clean yourself, how to, clean your body, cleanliness, hygiene, how to eat, how to conduct with your relatives, how to conduct with your neighbors. And among all the other things of life, Islam also, instruct you how to conduct business. And this ruku is particularly a reflection of that. That, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as a trade or as a livelihood, he did two things. He tended sheep. Before he was age 25, he looked after, sheep and, herd of sheep. And after that, he was a trader himself. When Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was 25 years old, one of the richest lady of Makkah, Bibi Khatija, she was a very famous, entrepreneur or a trader of that. Her wealth was so immense that as Makkah being a trade hub of trade between the south, which was Yemen, and between Syria, the Roman Empire hub of trade. So Makkah was on the key trade route, and most of the people, there was a barren land around Makkah, so most of the people in Makkah depended on trade. And Bibi Khatija was the richest trader of all the Makkah. So she wanted to send a trade caravan to Syria, and she was looking for a person who she can trade because she could trust. And everybody suggested Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, especially his uncle suggested, Abu Talib, that when Bibi Khatija asked around, is there a person who's honest, who can dependable, who can take my trade caravan? So Abu Talib suggested his own nephew, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And at that time, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had reputation for being a sadiq and amin, that truthful and trustworthy. So without any hesitation, Bibi Khatija trusted her trade caravan with Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he took, although Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was a young person, only 25 years old, but he took that trade caravan, and when he took it, and he conducted the business so well that when the trade caravan returned, it came with a lot of profit. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sold all the stuff that was supposed to be sold in Syrian markets, and when he came back, when he sold all that, with the money he got from selling that, he bought trade goods that he brought back to Makkah, and again sold it at a very profitable rate. And Bibi Khatija was so impressed with his honesty, the way he conducted the business, and all the miracles that happened, because she had accompanied her slave Masra with Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Masra, when he came back, he told that how Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam conducted his business, and also said that a miracle that whenever Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would travel, a cloud will hover over Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, will hover at him all the time. That was an indication of prophethood. This is another miracle, that when the night Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was supposed to migrate from Makkah to Medina, so all the people of the Makkah, they had made a resolution, Ma'azallah, they will assassinate Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And what they did, they selected that one brave from each clan, and they had appointed him on the outside of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam house, that when Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will get out of his house, they will all attack and Ma'azallah hurt Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This way the blame will not come on a particular tribe, but this way all of them will equally share the guilt. So Banu Hashim, the tribe of Nabi Muhammad, would not be able to fight all those tribes, so they will resort to taking the blood money, which was equivalent to 100 camels in that time. But the miracle of Nabi Muhammad Sadaqat Amanat is that the same people who had besieged the house of Nabi Muhammad, their trade goods, where they were in the same house they had laid siege to. When they were the enemies, they were so enemies that they wanted to hurt Nabi Muhammad. But when it came to trust, they will trust nobody but Nabi Muhammad. So Nabi Muhammad, as he was getting out of his house, he told Hazrat Ali to lie on his bed, and he said that when you come back, return all those trade goods to the people, to their rightful owners, and then come to Medina. So that was a thing, a miracle, that it has never happened in the history, that people would oppose a person so much that they want to hurt him, but the same person they will trust. And that is the instruction, that was the teachings of Nabi Muhammad, that he practiced, that is sunnah, to conduct the trade very honestly, that people will, even the worst enemy will trust him. And also he taught the same principles, same business ethics to his Sahaba. And by the time of Hazrat Usman Ghani, there was so much prosperity in Medina that Nabi Muhammad had prophesied that a time will come that if you give 100 gold coins to somebody, he will not be happy. There will be so much prosperity. So this is the thing. Those people who, even Mazallah Muslims, they say that these days that business or a good business deal cannot be done without dishonesty or lying and all that. This is of course against what Muslims had witnessed, the world had witnessed by Nabi Muhammad and his Sahaba. There was so much prosperity in that. And this is the exact details is coming in this report. And it says, Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu iza tadayantum bidaini illa ajalin musamma faktubu. That this is the people of belief. They are being instructed that when you conduct a deal, or when you agreed, or the meeting of the mind, so whatever the deal or whatever you agreed to, put it in the writing. So there are two kind of business dealing, Quran is describing. First is like, in which when they agree something, it is better to write it down. Exception is that it is taking from one hand to another hand. Like if you go to store and just take some stuff, you buy some stuff, like you buy a cell phone or you buy some grain or something, you take from one hand and give it. So there's no necessity for writing it down, because this is hand-to-hand trade. Like you are taking it from one hand. But if there's something that involves the future or a much detailed thing, so for example, a business partnership between two people, for example, leasing of a house for rent, or leasing of a store. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is instructing that put it down in the writing. And when you put it down in the writing, that avoid a lot of problems. Because, for example, it is not necessary that one party must be dishonest. Sometimes it happens that two people made a deal that, I will lease your store, but, the details are left out, that how utilities will be paid and everything. And even with two good people, a misunderstanding can erupt. And that's what it is being in this ruku. That also,
that when we have these special programs.
So there's another thing, that the scribe has to be the honest person. So sometimes it happens that, in the olden days, today, like business dealing, the larger business dealings are done through the lawyer. So whatever mediation you have done it, is it through the lawyer, or you are basically putting down. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that a person of a good reputation should write that deal. And I would like to say that this word ila ajalim musamman. So what is this word ajalin? Ajalin means for a particular period of time. So here the word is being used that, like for example, you say that, I will lease your house for 2 years and all that. So there's a time period. So this is ajalin. And in Urdu, we also use that, if somebody's time come, that he passes away, we say that was his ajal, that, that his time had come. So this is the word of explanation of the word ajal, that ajal is for the particular time. So every human being also has a particular time in this world. So this is why we also use that ajal. Ajal means particular time in some cases. And the scribe, it is very important because he's the one who conducting all the deal. So he should be an honest person, because if you describe it today, sometimes business deal, they are so much cumbersome. Like, there are pages and pages of the business deal, and you cannot write everything. So read everything. And there are sometimes a period that, you not be able to have a patience to do that. So you trust a lawyer. So lawyer should be a very honest person, that he will point out all the things that how this business dealing will affect you. Because a bad dealing, even though you are honest, a business deal gone bad can cause, differences between two business partners, could between buyer and purchaser, leaser and the lesser. So this is something important, that whoever you trust. So here the word is scribe, but here in the modern term, it could be, and this is a whole topic. People who have researched that how commerce should be conducted in Islamic thing, Quran in details discovered that, describes that, commands that, and a lot of people have specialized in this business commerce. This has played a lot of effect on the dawah as well, because in Malaysia, in the Far East, and in Indonesia, no armies, Muslim armies ever went there. So what converted to the Islam? Because it was the merchants and traders. They went to Indonesian islands, the island of Java, the Malay Peninsula, and they conducted the business in such an honest and courteous manner. And they were such well-mannered people that is initially the religion of what is now Indonesia was Hinduism and Buddhism. But they were so much impressed by the business dealing of Muslim merchants that basically the aristocracy, the Rajas of Indonesia, they converted to Islam, and the general masses also followed the suit, because they were impressed by the honesty. My father described that India, in the olden days, when there was such a reputation of Muslims, that if a girl is getting married and the jewelry and all the dowry, they had to be taken to the next village or some other town. So what they will do, even if the village, there was a one honest, when a Muslim person, they will trust all the position and the honor of that girl who's getting married with a Muslim family, and they say, okay, we entrust you, because that was the sunnah of Nabi Muhammad, that worst of the enemies, when it came to trust, they would trust Nabi Muhammad, even those people who wanted. So as long as the ummah of Nabi Muhammad followed that a Muslim has to be a trustworthy and honest and a truthful person. So that was the reputation of Muslims, that they developed their trust with all the community, and even non-Muslim trusted them when they were getting. So if they cannot find, if there are some villages in India, they were not a single Muslim, so they will go to another village and try to find a Muslim person whose reputation was good, and they say, okay, our girl is getting married, and with the honor of the girl and with the jewelry involved, the expensive clothing, only we can trust you, and we do not have a single Muslim in our village, so we want to trust that. So you escort our daughter to the next village, because so that was the level of reputation of Muslim honesty, integrity, and trustworthiness. Allah guide us to our former glory, that we as a businessman, we as a people conducting the every dealing, we have the same reputation, inshallah. So, and who is the scribe should be a person who's honest and could be, so he should not be reducing anything. Like, if somebody trusts with a scribe, and especially the person, there could be some dealings in which a person is not literate, a person who do not know all the details of the business, a person who's very young in age, or a person who's not intellectually very stable. So this is the person, like, a person, I'll give you an example of one of the Sahabi. He wanted to buy a horse. So he went to a market where he wanted to buy a horse. And a person who was selling the horse, he was naive about the market rate of the horses. So this Sahabi asked him, how much is the horse worth? So he said one price. So the seller said a price, and the Sahabi said that no, this horse is worth more than that. So he says, how much is that? So he increased the price himself and says, okay, I will sell you for that. He said, no, still you are asking less money than that. So he gave him with an insistence the market rate of that horse, because that person was very naive. He had never sold the horse and he probably needed the money. That's why he came to that. So that was the level of the thing, that just because somebody's naivety or lack of knowledge, people would not take anything advantage of that. And another thing of that is today, like, writing or, a video of that is considered a witness like that, but Quran describe it as a true witness, like if you get two men and they will witness. So for example, if a business goes bad, there are two witnesses to that, I said that, such and such person sold his property with such a price, and these were the details, although it is written in that. But addition to that, if the two people witness that, there's a additional proof. So in details, they cannot go back. It has happened that two people, when they conducted a business deal, they started a partnership business. And what happened, they did not discuss the detail of that. And when they conducted the business, so they did not discuss that, which partner will put how much hours in there. One person was working 40 hours a week in a store, and his business partner will only put on 30 hours. So they had not failed to do that, and they did. So that's what caused the differences between two business partners, and this business deal fell apart. Not only their business was impacted negatively, but the relationship between two friends also gone bad. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is instructing to be very careful when we deal with any kind of business deal, whether it is partnership, it is selling, buying, or trading. And what happens that, if you cannot find two men, so if you get two women, like, you can get one man who will witness a business deal or describe whatever written, and two women, they will also be as equal as one witness. So three people, one man and two women, because it can happen that, if somebody forgets what was the deal, what was the done, so one person can remind that, that was the deal, and this is how the business should be conducted. And if you are traveling, and in the travel, it especially happen, and you cannot find a scribe, you cannot find a business lawyer who will finalize the deal and everything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that anything you can give it as a collateral and secure a loan. For example, somebody needs a thing and they cannot say that we cannot find in the travel that there's a scribe, a lawyer, or any business deal that they can do that, but they had agreement to that. So what they can do is say that, okay, I will keep my phone with you, or my such valuable with you, and you lend me so much money. That is a proof. And when they go to some town or something, they can have it written, and person would have, this is not a written thing, but especially a person has something of a valuable to back up as a claim that you had borrowed money from me and you had a meeting of that. And There's another point that is another deal that is being given, that sometimes there are bigger deals and sometimes there are very minor deals. But whenever there's except something is given from one hand to another hand, like as you go to store, or you go to a thing like that, you're buying grocery, you're buying, so there's no need to write it, because there's nothing can give wrong. Like you buy tomatoes, you give $10, so there's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing there's no necessity, and if you do not write it down, that's okay. But more other things in which it could be a small thing, as like selling a cell phone to a person, you say, okay, I'm giving $20 and then I will give you another $80 to do that. So you might consider, why should I bother just with $100? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that even if it is a small thing, it is better to put it down in writing, because not only a detail. So for example, if you sell a cell phone to somebody and give $20, a person forgets that he had already, so he will demand the full money of $100. So that can cause differences among buyer and seller. So other than that, the base of all the business conducted, all that is honesty, and honesty is based on two things: sadaqat and amanat, trustworthiness and truthfulness. And these are the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us in his holy book, and that's what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam practiced. And this is the teachings that were passed on to his Sahaba, Tabain, Taba Tabain, and to the very recently, up to 200 years ago, Muslims, as long as they used to practice it, the reputation in the whole world was very good there. So unfortunately, we do not see to that extent of honesty and all that. So Allah guide us to the right path, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the sunnat of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam of sadaqat and amanat, and the way they were practiced by Sahaba and Tabain, Taba Tabain. So inshallah, I will stop here, and if there's any brother has any questions, I will welcome that, or anyone to comment on that.